Isaac Freitas.
Simon Freitas.
Isaac Freitas. Hey.
I always wanted to just be like, yeah, jazz hands.
Well, then fucking do it.
Okay.
Live
God.
your dreams. Welcome to the Freitas Effect. Azeb.
My name is Azeb Freitas. I'm your co-host.
And I am Simon Freitas.
And we also have a special guest here today.
Super special.
We're going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Olivia Winston.
Yes. So Olivia Winston is here
Yes.
joining us today as we talk about our topic, which is going to be surrounding body positivity. So pretty much we decided we want to talk about body positivity because we have survived the most self-conscious season of the year, called summer.
So,
Where, you be revealing parts of your body because you're hot or because you can.
Sweat.
And because we all can and we all want to. Maybe. So anyways, we've been talking about what is this journey and what is this trend and like how do you make it part of your lifestyle if that's what you want to do. And just talking about, how to be body positive as you navigate adulthood and just taking inventory of like your self-care for temple maintenance, as I like to call it.
Yes.
So we're going to ask Olivia some questions. So pretty much like, how do you identify so the audience can know who you are?
I identify as Olivia. My pronouns are she, her, hers.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cute. What do you like? What do you do?
I'm just nervous all the time. Just obsessive thoughts.
Yes. What do
I
you get?
cry a
Do
lot.
you get paid for that?
More than you would think.
Oh, God.
Yeah, this is actually great timing because I just today came from, like an hour ago, a meeting where I got a new title.
Yay!
Yeah, I am officially an engineer.
Hey, we got an engineer.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey.
we're shaking in the studio, just so y'all know.
Twerking.
Yeah, just like body thrusts.
Vroom, vroom.
Yes. Cool. So what inspired you to get into like being an advocate for body positivity, or if you want to share your story a little bit, and we can dive deeper into that later, but just a little like
Yeah.
overview.
All right, I've tried to condense it down as much as I possibly can, but I think the story really starts like post-grad life. So after graduating college was really, really just a terrible time for me. Trying to find a job, which took fucking years. Going through a breakup and then like all the like half-assed relationships that come afterwards, and just like the new identity that comes with graduating college and being alone for the first time, and like away from all your friends and just like a different environment. It was a really, really hard time for me. And so as I was just like going through a lot of mental health stuff and just trying to figure out who I actually was as a person, some of my like wants and even my needs that weren't being met at the time, I started following a bunch of women. This also like had a lot to do with like how I felt about my body at the time. And I've actually been learning in therapy that as I go through really stressful times, which now in my life being definitely one of them, I turn to very self-loathing thoughts about myself. And so a lot of this time in my life had to do with just like thoughts about my body. So, I started following a lot of like body positive, sex positive women who were just really inspirational, and the gears started turning for me, and I started wondering what separated me from them, and like trying to figure out what the difference was, like why a lot of these women were a lot bigger than I was, and they were beautiful, and I envied them, and I wished that I looked like them. And so really I started realizing that the issue wasn't about size, it was just about like how I felt about myself and my confidence. And so this all kind of came to a head when which ended up being a completely unrelated thing, but I ended up posting one of those like flashback photos.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was like 2016 at the time. So it must have been like 2006 versus 2016, like now and then sort of things.
Oh yeah, like the 10-year challenge or some shit like that.
Yeah. And
But you've been doing this way before that all started. But go ahead.
yeah, we'll talk
Yeah.
about that maybe. This is kind of in my head where I was able to like pinpoint the start of it all. And so it was intended as a joke. It was supposed to be like, oh, here's like cute little 2006 me being fucking adorable and like not a care in the world, and my curls were on fleek, and like here's me now. I like haven't gotten out of bed in 2 weeks, and I can't even bother to put pants on, and like here's me now. So it was a photo of like me in like a long sleeve shirt and my underwear sitting in a chair. And somehow I still to this day have no idea who it was, and I don't think I'll ever know, but somebody sent that photo to a member of my family. And again, it wasn't anything like I post now. Like it was just the most innocent, like stupid post. But that really set off a cascading effect in my life. And a lot of people had a lot to say about it, and I'm a Taurus, and I will do anything out of spite. So
we stand.
That kind of so that kind of turned into me like very much not being okay with somebody telling me what to do with my body.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, you're uncomfortable seeing this? Well, get fucking ready.
Bet. You said it's about to get 50 times fucking worse.
Yeah. And so just again, like being in this part of my life and having a really hard time, I also as I was like running into like people from high school and stuff like that, I like you see them and you're like, you do the how are yous, try to catch each other up on life, and I was honest. And I was like, I'm not doing well, man. Like it's really hard. Like, man, trying to find a job, like trying to make life work, like living at home again is really tough. Like there was just a lot that wasn't lining up for me. And instead of just being like, oh, I'm great, how are you? Like everything's doing amazing. No, I was like, yeah, man, it's really tough, right?
Yeah.
And I realized that the second I let any sort of guard down and just like showed my skin a little bit, I got it right back. And people were like, oh, same. Like, and they would just like go off on all their shit too.
Good.
And so that was really a monumental thing for me, is realizing that I, especially as such a closed off kid, realizing that I could be open and honest with people and it would be received well, and how much of a change that had for me, being able to be open with people and realizing that everybody is going through the same thing. So I took those notes, and I, out of spite mostly, and also to benefit myself, I started posting more transparent shit on Instagram. So
well, thank you, that was beautiful.
Thank you so much.
I think Simon wants to slide into how the turns have tabled.
Is it time?
It's about damn
The
time.
slitty slide. Today, the story is about, well, it does revolve around body positivity, because it was around a time when my parents would sign Asba and I up for, well, mostly me, but like stuff at the YMCA where we would play basketball for like the championships of the junior A, whatever bullshit. Like it was just whatever we could get signed into for $25 for 8 weeks of playing and doing something, so I would not be on the couch. And so we're playing. And after a couple weeks, there was this kid on like a maroon team, and we're on like the Rust team or whatever.
Was I playing with you at this point in time?
This was when we were like
when we won, known as the,
when we won the championship.
Let's also just give you some context. Back in the day, when Simon and I were the same height and probably like almost the same weight, because we were going through a transition of puberty.
Yeah.
And they put us on the same team, but this was like my first year playing with like the Cambridge YMCA, right?
Yeah.
And then
it was like my second season.
Yeah, but we were also like the tallest kids in our division, so they called us the Twin Towers. Because we
I got called the Twin Towers, but that was because I was the tallest person ever, and my hair was red at the time in middle school.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
No, honey.
But yeah, they would just call us the Twin Towers because we would destroy everybody in defense.
Oh,
so
well,
like,
that's a lot better.
But damn,
No,
that's fucked now.
But So this, so
What
this,
elementary school did you go to?
bitch, the tables. So
Sorry, this is your tables. It's not.
turning tables, turning tables. All right.
Cute Adele.
So it was a bitch on a maroon team, and he was an asshole. And basically, we beat his ass at the playoff game. We had like this big ass rivalry rhythm with him, and he comes up to me afterwards.
Rivalry rhythm. What's that rhythm sound like? But go ahead. Sorry.
So he comes up to me after the game when like my parents are like get in the car or whatever. I don't know how, but I was like just alone with this little kid, and he comes up to me. He goes, "Mind you, we're the same age." He comes up to me. He goes, "Hey, I don't care that I lost. You're fat." And I was like, okay, well, I can lose the weight. You can't lose the ugly.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you
Damn
know,
bitch.
just you can always remember, at least you're still cute.
Love yourself. I mean, don't go around tearing other people down, but like when these bitches try to tear you down, at least love yourself.
Yeah, just remind them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remind them where you stand. Awesome. So that is
God
how
bless.
the tables
and the
turned.
And the chick.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, in terms of our main segment, there were a few things that you mentioned earlier that I kind of wanted to comment on, but I was also like, I just want to let Olivia speak because like everything she's saying right now is just like snaps for days. You said something about like there would be people that you followed on Instagram who were like probably bigger than you, but you like, you know, like you wanted to like look like them. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So like, could you
absolutely.
like elaborate on that a little bit more?
Sure.
Yeah.
Just kind of I always say, and I know we're going to get into this later, but like a huge piece of advice for me as far as like body positivity and self-love and like being online in 2019 is to follow people who look like you. And whatever that might look like. And there are so many accounts out there and bodies out there and people out there, and all of them have a message. And so as opposed to just following like the one like skinny white blonde Instagrammer who like talks about their like minuscule cellulite, follow somebody who looks like you and that you can relate to, and that you see them loving yourself, and it looks like a reflection of yourself. So I started by doing that, and I was following women who kind of had the same proportions as me, or like my biggest issue has always been like my thighs. So just following women with just like massive, beautiful thighs. Yeah. And just like people who felt confident in highlighting parts that I wasn't confident in, and being able to see that like how much they loved themselves in that body, and how unashamed they were to show it off. So I was really inspired by that. And again, like I said, that's kind of how I learned that it wasn't about my big thighs or like whatever I was uncomfortable about. It was about how I rocked them and how I like my preconceptions about them.
Can I say something about thighs?
Speak it.
Okay. I know Azam had like this face of like, I'm gonna ask a very other thoughtful
No, keep
question.
going. Keep going. I fucking hate you.
So I just wanted to put this little anecdote in there. When I went to Ireland, there was like a bunch of like ladies that were like mothers or like grandmothers or whatever that were like social workers on the trip with us, because it was a social work just study abroad trip. And there was a lady who's like, her thighs were they were just so large, and she just was like, and someone pointed it out at some point for some rude ass fucking reason, and she just goes, "My mama always told me, have thighs as big as your dreams." And I was like, damn, take it. Like,
Yeah.
She said, I got big dreams.
it was amazing. Like, I was like, fuck yeah. I don't remember her name.
Yeah.
Jane. Yeah.
Jane, that's
That's
an
amazing.
Irish ass name.
And it really is just how you. Oh, don't look at me. I'm not Irish.
I know it. I was like, maybe Olivia would know.
Jane. I feel like it's British. I don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely
Tarzan.
British. Yeah, you're right.
Anyways.
Yeah. Could be fucking anything.
But yeah, there are people of all sides. Like there are skinny ass people who really hate their bodies. Like it
Dude,
really has
for
nothing to
real.
do with that.
It really don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But like then again, even that, like, you know how there are like there's like body positive accounts, and then there's like they're always like these super skinny people, like not like the anorexic skinny, like the typical you get praised for your skinny.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's like, how do you navigate that when you're trying to be like pro body positive for people who have like unconventional, like proportional bodies, or just like, you know what I mean, like basically everyone who's not the norm, you know? And I'm not asking you to like answer that. I was just saying, like, you know, hypothetically, it's a tough thing to navigate. There was another thing that you mentioned that I also resonated with hardcore when you said, like, you know, because somebody sent this like picture to your, did you say it was your stepdad or your dad?
Just
or a family member or something. My bad. In my head, I was thinking father figures. Maybe I miss my dad. Hey, Dad.
Call him.
I know he's listening.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, POTUS.
Oh, man. But yeah, so you're saying that somebody sent this photo to your family member, and then you immediately were like, well, now I want to be way more fucking radical about this.
Oh, yeah. I was like, you fucking wait.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
But were you doing that, like, so were you doing that in response of, like, you wanted to be more radical just in general, in spite of the person, or in spite of like your family's reactions to that?
Kind of both, but also like it really just like lit a flame under my ass. I think being criticized for something like that, and like having it be called out, and like seeing people take issue with that, and again, this wasn't even like supposed to be like this does not even compare to a lot of the shit that I've posted, to be honest with you. It was just like it was just like the most innocent thing, and I think it did more of just lighting the fire and saying like, oh, like I'm not okay with how not okay that was.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because even like for me, I don't even post anything that bad.
No, and your
like,
thirst traps are litty.
Thank you. I'm not even out here thirst trapping. I'm just doing me, and everyone else seems to like it. Yeah. So I'm like, whatever, cool. Join the ride. I'm not doing it for you, but that's fine if it motivates you. So anyways, the stuff that I post, I consider very modest compared to the things that I see. And literally the same way, people like family members started being like, Azeb, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, well, let's like list all of my accomplishments that should not be taken away. And even if I wasn't an accomplished human being, I don't think that should strip anything away from anything that you're doing. Yeah. That has to do with just being a woman and feeling sexy, because the world hates women and doesn't want us to be confident and happy in our bodies. Yeah.
True.
So anyways, yeah, for me, I was like, bet now I'm going to be even more ridiculous, because it's like, it's kind of like when you have a kid that lives in a very sheltered home, and it's like they can't do anything their whole life, and then once they leave, they're like a party animal. Yep. You know, it's like you're literally pushing me to want to be the opposite of what you're asking me to do, you know? So I totally feel you, girl.
Yeah, and it's sexist as fuck. Like no one ever has commented on a guy having like his shirt off and been like, cover your nipples, your chest is just, you're such a man whore, any shit like that. No one gets any kind of shit like that. But fucking Azeb shows a butt cheek. Like, you know, it's just like, God forbid.
But
like,
even if it's a butt cheek in context, you know what I mean? Like a butt cheek at the beach.
I know, right?
That's enough, because it's like, my booty is so gratuitous. No one can handle it.
But can we just talk about like the weirdos at the beach that are like sunbathing and you can see like their Speedo and like there's like half their nut hanging out of it? It's like, bitches, like, there's
nasty.
other people that are actually disgusting and doing weird shit like out there in the world. And then there's just this tamed ass motherfuckers saying I love myself. Like, come on.
And you gotta bring it back to like the body positivity movement and just point out how sizist it is as well. Like if like a skinny, I mean, I don't, you know, but like if a smaller person posts a photo of a bikini and posts it publicly on their Facebook, versus me posting a photo in a long sleeve turtleneck and big ass granny panties, and the issue where do they take issue? It's with a larger body, you know? Yeah. And larger bodies are so sexualized. They're like, people say that they're disgusted by them, but if you show too much of it, then it's inherently like overtly sexual. Right. Because there's so much more skin showing. Right. And yeah, it's a very size related
But
conversation to have as well.
People are also just super uncomfortable with their own bodies that they're like, how can you be so like out there like that? Or even just the idea of like intimacy with like in the vulnerability that comes with like posting a picture that's just you in a turtleneck with your granny panties. You know what I mean? It's just like, whoa, that's you being like your, you know, closed door self in the open. And it's like, yeah, maybe that's the fucking point.
That is exactly
my point. But for me, my response is always like, sorry that you hate yourself so much. Like, you should go figure that out, but don't project that shit on me. Because I have nothing to do with the trauma that you have.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, I've already fucking hated myself enough. Like, I don't fucking need to keep doing it for you. Like, fuck that.
Oh my God. Bless.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, yeah, in responses to like I wanted to ask you, like, when you do post on social media, like, do you think about it a lot, or like, how do you like go about a way curating it, or like, what's your
I don't know how this sounds, but I put zero thought into what I post.
Good, because you don't need to.
Yeah. Usually, at least in the past, I think I'm kind of changing my posts and not being more careful with what I share, but just like thinking about what I actually have to say now. But especially in the past and sort of the posts that we're talking about here, usually they would be inspired by me feeling kind of shitty about myself. So if I was feeling bad about my body, or I felt really big that day or bloated or whatever it was, instead of sitting there just like hating myself, I would try to take a picture in that moment and see what I actually looked like from like, I needed to take a step back from the mirror. And for some reason, having the phone or the camera or whatever in between was enough of a filter to be able to say like, to step back from myself and see myself in the way that I was looking at all of the other women on Instagram. And so that was a way to say like, oh, like, that's not that bad. Like, if I saw somebody else who looked like that post something like that, I would think that they were beautiful. And yeah, so taking pictures is something that has really helped, and it always feels really gross and self-serving and like narcissistic, but it to me it feels like the opposite. It's very much a way to like step back from myself and look at myself through somebody else's eyes.
Cool. Simon, you got anything?
That was just fucking really deep and awesome. I don't know, like that. Yeah, I was thinking about like any kind of thing. I had something and I lost it.
Well, I'll talk about the captions too, as far as like any thought at all.
We love the captions.
Yeah, talk about no thought at all.
Conscious scream of consciousness. Yes.
Yeah, no, and I was thinking about that recently because I posted something kind of body related for the first time in a while recently. And yeah, sometimes I just think about something. I just have like something to get out there and say. And so by the time I've decided to post something, it really is just about like snapping a picture in the moment or like finding a picture to post. And then I have no editing process whatsoever. I just kind of free flow thought, talk about how I'm feeling and try to convey it in a way that other people might understand. And yeah, I try my best.
Dope. So like when you do these posts, like what are the typical responses? You
have to keep in mind, and for whoever audience listens, I am not by any means any sort of like Insta famous, Insta popular, Insta anything.
Influencer.
Definitely not. I think my most liked post is like less than 100 likes, so
it doesn't
it's
matter.
No, and I don't count that at all, but I just want people to understand that like I'm not somebody who's exposed to like the masses, and therefore I'm not exposed to like trolls of any kind.
True.
So I don't really have to experience hate or backlash at all. I have to say that my responses have been overwhelmingly positive. And whether that be like likes or comments, but also what means the most to me is some of the messages that I get from people. And these can be people that I've either never met or I knew a very long time ago, like went to high school with or something, and who I haven't spoken to since, but have been just so kind enough to reach out to me and just thank me for something that I've said or posted, or been able to say that they've related to me in some way. which just all goes back to the transparency that I talked about earlier. That's kind of the reason that I post what I do.
Yeah, man. It's crazy, like, how inherently kind people can really be when they all just, like, put their shit to the side. And it's like when you're just upfront. Huh?
Can be.
Can be. That's why I said can.
Yes.
Can. Potential. Yes.
Don't mean to make it super bittersweet. Like,
I know. I mean, you just gotta be real too. Like, it can't be like everybody's great because everybody sucks too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all the both.
Everyone's great and everybody sucks too. I think that's the body positivity movement right there.
Literally. But, like, would you say most of your followers are like friends and family, or like there's like randos here and there, whatever?
Yeah, I mean, my account was always a personal one, and I never really thought to make it not that, because my posts are very personal. It was super uncomfortable at the beginning to know that I was posting pictures of my naked body for people in high school that I haven't talked to in like 5 years or more. But yeah, I mean, my audience has just kind of stayed people that started following me from the beginning.
Cool.
There are like maybe a handful of just really creepy, gross guys who I don't know in real life, but who will like comment weird things or whatever. But yeah, if I get a message from somebody I don't know, I ignore it. And other than that, I'm not really bothered.
Cool. So, like, when you did first start posting this stuff, like, how did your family respond? And then how did you, like, navigate that?
Yeah. My family's response has not been great. Like I said, it kind of all started with family response, which kind of pushed me the other way. But kind of what you were saying, where you try to get them to step back and see all of your other accomplishments. I feel like at the beginning I felt this like responsibility to defend my actions, and really say like, yeah, the photos of me in my underwear, but like, look at this long caption explaining all of these things, and like, look at all of these comments of people saying how much I've helped them, and like, look at this message from somebody who said that what I said they were like helped by and could relate to. And I just felt like I had to just defend so heavily and try to prove that I wasn't like the other posts that I see, you know, and trying to separate myself from other pictures of women online that are the thirst traps, or just like pictures in bikinis just for fun, and like with the like just an emoji as a caption instead of anything profound. And the more I actually realized what I was doing, the more kind of grossed out I was by it, and the more I realized that it's all the same point. Yeah. And that's kind of why I've been struggling lately with my captions and stuff. Like, I still have plenty of things to say, but sometimes I just want to feel good to feel good. Yeah, man. Sometimes I don't want to have to be in a really low point, or like have something crazy and profound to say, or like write a 5-paragraph essay to be able to post a cute picture of myself. Yeah. And all of that is the same. Like me posting something about like how I'm feeling that day, or like how much I hated myself and therefore had to take this photo and tell all of you and whatever, is the same as me feeling really good about myself and posting a picture about it. And so yeah, my family response hasn't been great, and I've been told, especially when I first started posting what I do, I was told that it was affecting certain households. Oh, word. Yeah, that like people weren't allowed to bring me up in like their homes because it was an uncomfortable conversation for them. Wow. Yeah, and to this day I still get comments and stuff, just like passive aggressive things. Wow. But ultimately people have no issue letting me know what their opinions are. Oh yeah. Same. And so
opinionated people, they will not be held back.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, my family loves me no matter what I do, and I'm very, very privileged and fortunate to be able to say that. And I think the more that first of all, they know how stubborn I am, and they know that I'm not going to change. So it's kind of like accept me or don't. But I think that they kind of get it now a little bit. And yeah, so I mean, any like just sideways comments are what they are. But and like my Nana, I love her more than this whole world, but she's never going to be okay with what I do. And I kind of, the way that I look at it is I would be uncomfortable with that too.
Yeah.
You know, like if I birthed you and I saw you posting that shit online, like I probably wouldn't be the most comfortable. Like as body positive and whatever as I am, that would make me really uncomfortable. And so I'm kind of like, I don't expect you to like it, but you have to understand that this is for me. And I know you love me, and so you have to accept it. And so that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
I mean, but the people that follow you and like see the stuff that you post on social media are all people that you like trust and know and like, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't know about trust. Trust is a word.
I mean, like when you put this message out there, like, you know, you trust them enough to like, if they see it and read it, even if they attack you, like, you know that like they're far enough away from you not to actually do fucking anything. Like,
yeah, I think by the time I get the guts to post something online, like there are some stuff that even to this day like make me really uncomfortable to post, and sometimes it's not what you think it would be. It's more of like the person, like I like any like life news makes me really uncomfortable now. Like I'll post a picture of my titties, I don't give a shit, but like posting life news for some reason is like what makes me uncomfortable these days. That's my boundary.
Like there's something personal about it.
Yeah, it just seems very personal to me. Yeah. So, but like by the time I've resolved to post something online, it's very separate from me. Like if I have gotten to a point where I press like submit or whatever it is on Instagram, I'm like, all right, like this is the reason I post stuff anyway, is to let it go. So a lot of yeah, and that's where a lot of this stuff comes from, and that's why I was saying I don't have an editing process, because it's all about letting it go. So if I post something and I'm feeling uncomfortable with myself, or like having self-loathing thoughts, which is very common for me lately. I'm posting something and I'm venting about it, and I'm letting other people know, because I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. I know that somebody else has to be going through the same shit. So I'm posting it so other people can relate, and then I'm letting it go, and then I don't think about it anymore.
That's it.
And it's a really magical thing. Like that's the thing that I feel like people can have their judgments, but they don't understand, because like you can think I'm doing it for attention or the thirst trap or whatever you want to think, but ultimately, like if I post something like that, just know that I've let it go and I don't feel that way anymore. Like it's not completely gone, and it comes back and it comes and goes and whatever, but like in the moment, it feels like such a relief to get it out there and have other people see it.
I love that. It's so interesting too, because like it's funny, the first thing that they tell you about like posting is like, oh, it's gonna be on the internet forever.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, okay. Because like what even is the internet?
Yeah, I mean it was definitely a concern at first, and I think that's why my parents or my family in general had such a hard time with it.
Yeah,
because they were like, this is never gonna go away, you understand that, right? Like this is like your underwear photos and whatever you're posting, like this is gonna be there for your life. And I think they just came at it initially from a point of concern.
Yeah, that's usually what it is.
Yeah, which I mean I can totally understand, but yeah, it didn't really seem like anything that I needed to worry about. Yeah, I'm not really ashamed of what I post.
I also feel like everything on the internet, or just kind of in the mainstream world, digital world right now, is free game for anyone. So like, you know, it's like hackers are fucking everywhere. So
yeah,
like,
I feel like people who need to hear that message are more like the racist Nazis online these days. Like I don't think I really need to worry about my underwear pics.
That's the other thing though, is like you sit here and you're just like, how are photos of my body making harm happen to other people? Is this life-threatening to you? You seeing my ass on Instagram? Whoa.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
Is World War III about to happen? Is climate change going to increase?
Because your thighs.
Right. that's a song right there. But yeah, like I remember, like I posted something like, I don't even remember. It was like maybe a couple months ago. Who knows? Whatever. I post shit all the time. But you know, I got this like backlash from my family, and I was like, LOL, this is not the first time that I've done this, you guys. You guys have like come at me for this before, and I'm not gonna stop. And you know, it made me really sit and think, okay, what is my defense? And I'm like, first of all, I don't need a defense.
Yeah.
And then second of all, I don't need to list my accomplishments. Third of all, if you don't like what you see, you don't got to look at it.
Yeah, that's kind of what it comes down to.
It's very simple. You can unfollow me. You can block me. Just don't report me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't understand. But whatever.
I mean, even to be like completely honest, like when I first saw the first photo shoot kind of thing that you did, then like Henry and I were like, oh shit, this is her real Instagram. And then we were like thinking about it and we were like, yeah, but it's fucking Azeb. Like, you know, it's just like, she's
me.
not being fucking stupid about it.
No,
like, you know,
no.
she's not being like,
And my captions
yeah,
are funny as hell.
my sweet cheeks ain't never gonna see your cheating ass again, Layla. And it's just like, oh, Azeb's dating Layla. Shit, that sucks. Oh, shit, her sweet cheeks never seeing Layla again. This is a breakup post. Azeb's going through something. We gotta talk shit. Because
But I would never. We all know that.
But yeah, like you're saying,
Yeah.
like, bitch, we flexing or some whatever shit. with
Okay,
Amigos.
I'm gonna look for this.
Yeah,
specific
it's the booty picture,
I-
you know.
That's like 6 of them.
The
No,
one that's like,
there's so
I,
much
we don't
booty.
gotta
I
talk
love
about it.
it.
We don't gotta talk about it.
but yeah,
But okay, so another thing that comes up is whenever I have these conversations with my family members, it's always like, Azeb, do you know what you're doing? And I'm like, first of all, I'm a grown ass woman. I graduated from a college. I have a fucking degree. I have a fucking job. I'm like, you know, again, here we go, listing accomplishments. But it's like,
yeah.
I do that, and then I'm like, I very well have the common sense and knowledge and brain and intellect in here to know what the fuck I'm doing when I'm posting, right?
I think adults forget too that like we are the generation that grew up with the internet. Like we probably understand better than you do that,
Yeah.
that this will be out there forever.
It's mine. So it's like, yes, I know exactly what I'm doing. And then it's like, I've also been told all of this before, like when applying to jobs. And it's like, okay, yes, again, it's coming from a place of concern, right? And I appreciate your concern, but like, I'm not stupid. And also, like, if this were to come up in a job interview, I would be able to defend myself. And if that place doesn't feel comfortable with how I decide to live my life, then I don't need to work there. That's not a place that needs to be hiring me and not a like environment I want to be in, constantly knowing that I'm going to be judged and uncomfortable for anything that I'm doing outside of work that has nothing to do with what I do on the day job.
yeah, but your
That's exactly
Instagram's
how I feel about the work-related stuff.
Yeah.
your Instagram's private though, isn't it?
No, not anymore.
Oh,
Because I'm wild.
wow.
Yeah, no. I mean, sometimes it's private, sometimes it's not.
I just don't trust the world.
I go in and
so,
out sometimes.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
private.
I don't know. My page is fun. You said private?
Private.
That's not a word.
Well, I'm never gonna become like Instagram famous unless this podcast takes off. Like,
Hey,
give me money.
money, please.
But
We always out here.
yeah,
Yeah.
always begging.
But yeah,
I had a question.
yes.
Are we good to move on? To
Yes, do your thing.
Okay, cool. So I thought of something. Since all of us have been in band, and wait, so Olivia, have you ever been in any like sports?
I've been in every sport.
Every sport?
She's an Olympian.
Oh my god.
Olivia Olympian.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm an athlete.
Shit. It's crazy.
No, very much not.
I was so ready. Like,
Someone's like, I thought I knew you.
No, but I did. I mean, not anything worth talking about as far as like body positivity realm. But I played soccer, basketball. I got my black belt in karate, so I did karate for a number of years. I played softball, marching
Shit.
band, obviously.
you really
Yeah,
did do a lot of
I did a lot of sports. Yeah, I was a very active kid.
plot twist.
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna bring up the idea of like changing around people and like you being in your own like.
When I
yeah.
saw that, I just need to like tell you how triggered I was.
Yo,
by that.
I'm so sorry.
That awakened a memory for me that has been so pushed down.
Yeah.
Simon's like, such work,
Well,
Simon, on the
yeah. Well, Asa was like, you put in some notes, and I was like, I got one, bitch.
Oh my god, that was such a good one.
Yeah. Well, because I was thinking about how like band, it like slowly evolved from like, yeah, I'll change into this red shirt in the middle of an auditorium. This is fine. To like, yeah, I'll change into like, you know, like at least like just keep my underwear on and get into this marching band uniform. To okay, I'm in drum corps and I have to be naked with 100 other guys for like 20 minutes as we stand around in a fucking circle jerk shower. This is cool. Like, and then the water's ice cold. This is great. We're all screaming. This is fun. Like, So like I went from like slow evolution to like shock as fuck, and then was
Yeah.
just like, well, I can be naked around anyone now because of
Yeah.
fucking drum corps.
I
But,
totally
like-
forgot that you guys had the drum corps
Oh
experience.
yeah,
I'm
so we
sorry.
took it to the next
That's
level.
a whole new level of
NFL,
naked.
Yeah,
the,
no, I
MM.
can only imagine.
That's like
MB,
microscopic.
Oh.
I see your dead skin cells
You
naked.
see
Wow.
everything.
It's
You see
nasty.
everyone's
There's
everything.
so much stuff you don't want.
Where
to
I'm
Oh
at
my
in life
God.
now, I would love that.
Oh no, not with teenagers.
Oh no. But
Oh,
high
just
school
the
me,
range.
I would have just collapsed
Well,
and
because
died right there.
It's a range of like 14 to like 22-year-olds, so
Yeah.
you're all just like mixed in.
You're
like
just like,
soup.
no,
Like-
it's so
Oh,
nasty.
Yep. But I was thinking about that, like that fucked me up. Like, you know, it's like
Yeah,
it made
absolutely.
me
But did it
like,
make
so
you-
much more
Oh, it made you more like conscious, like self-conscious.
No, like more like comfortable with myself
Oh,
like,
okay.
doing stuff. Like
Yeah.
it totally destroyed all my boundaries. Like I was terrified
because
of
you're just so
showering
used
the
to
first
just
time.
seeing nakedness, and you're just like, oh, okay, bodies are just bodies.
Exactly. Like when you're not
Yeah.
exposed
Because you know
to it
you
as
have to
much,
see these
then-
people afterwards.
Yup.
You're like, we about to do 8 hours of practice.
Exactly. You have to stay with them after you see them naked. Like
It's very intimate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And
That's
like
why it's a cult.
even I went in like my Azeb, we're not getting into
We're
that.
not doing
on
this today. We're
episode.
not doing this today.
But I remember my first shower in drum corps, like I was just in the shower and I thought I was by myself, and then all I hear is like, so what do you think about the show? And I turn over and it's like my friend Travis, and I was like, thank God it's fucking Travis. Like I was like, anyone else I would have lost it, but then Travis is like half blind, so like it just made me feel so much safer. And then like every time I showered after that, I was like, I already can do this. Everything's fucking fine. But then
Wow.
there was just weird fucking shit that would happen in the showers. But
Yeah, like with the crackers and the snacks and
the crackers and snacks
swimming.
didn't happen as much. It was more
the
like
swimming on the floor.
it was more like people. Yeah,
That's just
yeah,
unsanitary.
it was-
fucking gross.
But
Oh,
being with
man.
these fucking people afterwards, like, oh my God, it's just so, because you have to sleep together, you have to be around them, and then it's
Yeah.
just like, they would make jokes about like dick size and stuff, and I'd just be like, we all know. Like, it's just like,
Yeah, you can't do jokes like that when everybody's seen it.
Literally. Oh man.
Uh.
Well, Simon, I wanted to ask you a question about body positivity because obviously, like for me and Olivia, it's totally different,
Mhm.
and like you're a guy, so
Am I?
like,
Plot twist.
whoa. Sorry, I
You're
don't know
right.
if you were trying
Yeah.
to like say something.
No, I'm
I
not saying
was like,
anything.
we doing this?
Just
We're
kidding.
doing it right
No,
now?
we're
We're doing this right
saying-
now?
Yeah.
In the stew.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so like, as a guy, what are parts of your body that you guys get like self-conscious about? And I'm not asking you to speak for all of the men in the world that exist, but like just, you know, maybe like some common things that you feel like other guys could relate to.
Okay, definitely I feel like the muffin top is kind of like, if you don't have like a flat stomach and you don't have like washboard abs,
That's
then it's
crazy.
just like, you know, you just kind of feel like, okay, this is fucking meh, no one likes this, like
Okay.
that kind of thing. Having like man boobs,
Okay.
like, yeah, because like I told you the story about the guy that scooped me.
I mean, you can tell the rest of the world. I know.
Hello
the story.
world, it's time. How the turns have tabled, part 2. So this was wild. So I get high as fuck, and I'm off to a barbecue at my friend John's house. And John, I love you. You are the best. You're my fat boo. Anyways, so we're walking. I'm alone. I'm walking down the street. I have headphones on. I have my "Don't fuck with me" face on. I'm just walking through Everett. And this guy comes up to me. He's jogging next to me because I'm walking really fast, and he's really short, and he's bald, and he's like somewhat, I don't know, like maybe Italian-ish because it's Everett, and he's just like saying something. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I take my earbud out, and he goes, "Hey, if you do just this workout and blah blah blah," and I was like, oh fuck, he wants to get me a gym membership, and he's like, low reps and high weights is how you get rid of your gorilla titty, and he scoops me when he says gorilla titty, and I was like, excuse me. Do not touch me. And he's like, I could be your personal trainer. And I was like, you can get the fuck out of my life. And then he was like, okay. And then he turned the corner and left.
No, he went into a bar, right?
No, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eight
Wow.
and
But
10.
yeah,
Fuck
it was.
that guy.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just trying to get some barbecue, man. Like, yeah. So the gorilla titty.
Never
that's,
forget.
Never forget.
No,
Yeah.
I have to add, I feel like the male experience is a really important one to include in this, but I have to ask, as you're saying, like, things that make you uncomfortable about your own body,
Yeah.
do you think that the features that you're uncomfortable with are because that they're typically more feminine?
Ooh.
Like, you're talking about your love handles and like your man boobs and stuff, and do you think that the reason that those points are
That was really good.
do you think that I'm sorry, I've been to a lot of therapy, I don't know if you can
that's
tell.
smart.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the things that, maybe not you in general, it's like
Well,
kind of
I
make
feel
this
like-
more broad, but
yeah,
like the parts of men's bodies that typically make them more comfortable are the love handles, the little bit of gut, and like potentially man boobs and stuff. And do you think that it just goes back into that larger sexism conversation where those parts are typically seen as more feminine, and so if you look more feminine, then you're inherently inferior?
I feel like if you're a man, you have more of like it because you can get away with it a lot more, but you don't really have as much like. I feel like you can have a beer gut, and that's
Yeah.
masculine, like the pot belly.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like that's more masculine than just being like kind of floppy on the sides
Yeah.
and stuff. But I like the like. I feel like that's more of a subconscious thought. I don't think anyone would ever. I don't know. Like, you know, that's never crossed my mind of. Okay, actually, yes. Man boobs. with the saying of man boobs, I never took it that way. But when I said it to the vice principal when I was getting bullied one time,
I'm dead.
he made me change the way, like he changed my vernacular for me to talk to him
Really?
about it. Like he was uncomfortable with me calling my chest my man boobs.
Wow.
He was like, they're your pecs. Like it wasn't even chest.
Oh my God.
He made me say pecs. I was like, I ain't ho. Like a little like 7th grade Simon being like, they keep scooping my man boobs. And he's like, pecs, son, say pecs. You gotta work out on your chest, do push-ups for your pecs.
Your pectorals.
Yeah, literally. I was like,
Oh my
like a
God.
chicken, like bitch. No, like boobs.
Oh my God. Wow, that was good. That was a good one. In my head, I was thinking guys would be more like, I don't know, like, you know, like those pictures of guys who like don't do leg day and then they have like really skinny,
Yes,
like
yeah.
tiny
Oh.
toothpick ankles.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was thinking like your calves or like your arms for some reason.
I feel like when you're a
Don't give him more things to feel self-conscious
no.
about.
I love my legs. No, but so when you're I feel like when you're a skinny guy, then you're self-conscious because you don't have any fucking muscles.
Oh, okay.
Like I know.
So is it all centered around just having muscles?
Yeah, being hard. Yeah, just like literally like being.
I really
like a
do
brute
feel like it all
force.
centers back to looking masculine as
Yeah.
opposed to feminine,
Yeah.
because
Just being a
feminine is the
fucking rock.
inferior.
Because even I also was thinking like having like rough hands and like, yeah, you got to be
You're right,
someone
though.
that you can't fuck with.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
you know, like
facts.
you have to be you got to be a tank to be a
Okay.
guy, basically.
Mm.
But that's what I imagine. Like it's just, when you
And it's-
imagine like
yeah.
the manliest man,
Uh-huh.
they're like a fucking wildebeest. Like it's
Yeah.
just like it's like hairy as fuck. Like
Yeah.
every muscle and vein is like moving. Like yeah.
It's so interesting though, because like it's like you guys don't do it for the sake of like, oh, women like this, or
No.
you know, or like whoever is supposed to be attracted to you for whatever, you know, like the natural causes of being attractive. But like, you know, it's not like you're like, oh, like we want to look this way because it's attractive. It's like we want to look this way because it's manly.
I feel like it is because it's attractive because no one else is as fucking strong as you. Like you know,
I
it's
just
like
gotta chime in again and say that you are seeking the approval of men because men are the the default and
Right.
women are inferior. Like even men, like women are trying. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
stereotypical, like cis, heteronormative, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
All the words.
yeah, I just feel like everyone at the end of the day is trying to seem like superior, like
intimidating,
yeah, like
Yeah.
like,
to
you have more
men.
power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even the same like confidence and like
Well, even
the
I
way
get
you
like
carry
a,
yourself and shit.
Yeah, like I get a extra boost of confidence and all that shit just because I'm fucking tall. Like, you know, it's like sometimes I walk into a room and I just feel like the smallest fucking person. Like, you know, I'm quiet as fuck.
Uh-huh.
And then like everyone else is fucking intimidated by me. Like I'll like try to talk to people and then they're just like, uh-huh. And it's just like, can you just fucking breathe? Like it's just like, I have no idea what's going on in this room and I just need some fucking help. Like what's going on? And then they're just like, oh, and I'm just like, fucking shit. Like,
That's so much power. Though.
Exactly, but I don't like it. Like, cause then sometimes I'm being a little bitch, and then like other people like take it like so much harsher, and I'm just like, can you not take me seriously for like one fucking second? Like,
Well, after they get to know you, they'll know who you are, and then they'll understand. Yeah.
But no, yeah, cause there's just I don't know.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. You seem like an approachable dude to me.
That also is a problem sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm way too approachable.
Yeah.
Like people I'll be in another country and people will come up to me and ask me for directions. And I'm like, do I look like I'm from here and I know where I'm going all the time?
Oh my god.
Yeah, you just look all knowing and just the wise.
I don't get it.
Endlessly wise.
I had a fucking guy in Jerusalem. No, it was Jerusalem. Yeah. Come up to me, ask me, hey, are you this comedian? And I was like, nope. And then he was like, okay, cool. Can we go to the back of this store and I shave your head and give you $100? And I was like, nope. And he goes, okay. And he just walks away. And I was like, I gotta stay with the group. Like, I was just like, oh, fuck.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember this?
No.
It was that store with all the cool wood.
Oh.
Yeah. I was just off in the corner getting tea.
Oh, that was a cool store. It's
Yeah.
because we were in Bethlehem.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, people talk to us. and
Bethlehem's
it's-
sketchy. It's fun, but it's sketchy. Yeah.
I should have done Birthright.
You still can.
You're not dead yet.
I absolutely can't. I absolutely can't.
Honestly, I wouldn't know. I'm just like
Oh my
saying
God.
shit.
Mom's saying she's gonna try
Mom's
to do
like,
Birthright.
Let's get her. Let's bring her with me.
Oh my God.
Mom's gonna hear this and be like, "You asshole." Yeah. All right, cool. So we were talking about guys and body positivity issues. I had more to say about that, but it's totally forgot.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so back to the topic at hand about like changing and stuff for band. Honestly, I'm trying to remember. Do you guys ever like watch those TV shows where like they just change in the locker room all the time?
Yeah.
Because
Because even, like,
naked people everywhere.
Even
yeah.
for like gym, we didn't really have to do that. Like I feel like we never got sweaty enough to have to take a shower, and plus we only had 3 minutes to get to our next class.
Yep.
So I'm kind of just sitting here like I don't feel like we really experienced that in high school.
We didn't have. Yeah, we know we didn't ever really have enough time to shower unless you had gym during lunch. But like, if you showered during gym, like you had to be.
You had to be extra as hell.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was an option, to be honest with you. I never once went into locker rooms.
You never went in the locker rooms to
I don't
like
think
change?
I ever, no, I don't think I ever had to.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
would-
I would
just
go to
did
like
the
change
generic gym
yeah.
class.
I went if I had to like change from like jeans to sweatpants or something.
I
You
would
know what
usually
I mean?
like drop my pants in my locker or just keep them in my backpack and then like throw my bag off to the side or some shit. Like, yeah, I really never changed in high school unless it was for like band or track. I did track once.
You did track for like 2 seconds, yeah.
Okay, I was at every fucking meet, but I never went to practice. Like, that was the worst. But yeah.
I mean, I don't know. For band, like,
We got so comfy changing anywhere in the band room.
Well, with band, I think you guys started a little bit later than I did. Correct me if I'm wrong,
oh yeah,
but
I did.
I think you guys might have had a little bit different of an experience than me because I think by the time you guys came in, we had separated from men's and women or girls and boys. So I remember later on in our career, our marching careers, having to like go to separate rooms to change. Was that always the case for you guys? Do you remember in high school?
I remember that they would try to do that as much as possible on the bus, but like if it was just like a lunch break and they were like, you have to be in half uniform to get on the bus for the next thing,
Yeah.
and then we're all just hanging out in the band room and no one's fucking paying attention, then like then we would like just get changed. But then as soon as like the instructors would be there, then they'd be like, boys go to the boys locker room, girls go to the girls locker room, it's all open if we see you changing in the band room.
Yeah. Well, I just remember later on it always being like an actual thing, and when I first started, it was never a thing.
Like just like changing co-ed in the same room.
Yeah.
It was like chill.
Oh my God. Yeah. So
That's
chill. And
Maybe something happened. Somebody did something.
oh yeah, there was definitely some.
Because that's when you know, like when there's a law that's made, it's because somebody did something stupid.
Yeah, it was probably like an uncomfortable parent or something like that.
That
but,
too.
Yeah, but I remember my first year, it was so jarring to me.
Yeah.
Having to change in the room with everybody, and I was actually very uncomfortable with it. And like, Yeah, and I remember I was the one who, like, out of like the whole band who's changing together, I would grab my garment bag and go into the bathroom to change just because I was so uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
And
I would do the same thing.
yeah, and I remember being kind of teased for it too. Like, people would make comments and yeah, kind of like took issue with me going to the bathroom to change when nobody else did. And
the fucking band kids, they're the fucking worst.
Yeah,
Like,
they're the worst.
yeah.
But I mean, like, I feel like regardless, you know, you choose to do something different, everybody's always gonna make fun of you. But it's like, it sucks when it's because like you just don't want anyone to see you naked.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
you're just like, excuse me, I'm like 13.
Well,
You're like, I'm like,
right, yeah, barely a teenager and
Yeah.
like so uncomfortable with my body, and also nobody else had seen it before.
yeah.
Right.
And all of a sudden I'm surrounded by like people of all teen ages.
Mhm.
And yeah, everyone's just showing off everything. I was I had no issue with anybody else's body. I just was not okay with it
yeah.
for myself.
I remember the
Yeah.
first time I like changed and like had to get down to my underwear. Fucking Chris DeAngelis like made some stupid immature like remark, just like, Simon, put it away. No one wants to see that. And I'm like, you are also in your underwear right now. Like, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, you put it away. Like, fuck. All of us are not gonna put it away. We all gotta take it out right now. Stop. Like,
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, even when like I had to like change in front of my friends, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go this way and like
Yeah.
look the other way. You know?
Yeah.
Honestly, sometimes to this day, I'm just like, I don't want you to see all this. There's a lot going on over here.
well, because sometimes it's not even about yourself being uncomfortable. It's just like, okay, I don't really know if I want you just, you know, having this whole vision of me like flopping over and trying to get a shirt on and wiggling and shit. Like, you know, it's just like, yeah, I'll kind of have my own space. Yeah.
But as mom once said, this is fucking hilarious actually. When we were in Ethiopia, my mom was like, let's go to the spa. And I was like, cool, it's going to be normal, right? And she's like, yeah. And her and Membi are giggling the whole time. And I'm like, this is not going to be good. And it's like me and Rati and Membi and mom. And they're like, oh, let's do the Morocco spa treatment. And we're like in Ethiopia, so like God only knows what that means. So we go to this like spa place, and it's like this sauna room. And then like we're all like butt ass naked in there. And I'm like, word, I guess we're all just gonna be naked. And it was like, there was like flowers and shit like everywhere, and they were like, it was like they thought it was like a couples thing. And so me and Rati are just sitting so uncomfortable like next to my mom and Membi, and they're like trying to like scrub us with the hot towels to get the dead skin off. And I'm just like, can you guys just like leave me alone? They were like, you were born naked, you're gonna die naked, you're naked under your clothes. And I was just like,
That's so beautiful, but that's also
okay.
a cultural difference.
no,
too.
I know
like,
that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are people who grow up just comfortable being naked, and I mean, that just goes to show that it's really just what you were taught. It has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah. It was mad funny though, because like me and Rati were just like, we know we're being stupid right now, but like I did not ask to be touched in my naked ass sauna body.
I also have to say that is like literally scene for scene like an episode of Big Mouth.
Literally, that's exactly what it felt like. It was exactly what it felt like. It was tough. But you know, we're all closer now, so
Yeah. Bonding experience.
it was mad funny. Olivia, when you mentioned like these before and after pics, like what are your feels on before and after pics?
Oh, so many feels.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a huge perpetrator of the before and after pic. I was super into it for a while. My journey's been a long one. And I've grown and I have regrets. But yeah, I mean, a lot of my adult life I was trying to lose weight. And hearing feedback from people just cheering me on, and like I just it really becomes just, you become used to watching yourself shrink away. And for me it was really long and drawn out. It wasn't like a year of weight loss and then just maintenance. It was just years of trying to get my shit together and just kind of figure out how to do it, and it was not in very healthy ways. And so yeah, I mean, every time I went home from school, just listening to people say like how beautiful I looked now.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Now.
Yeah.
Right.
Fucking
Yeah.
shit.
And just commenting on it and like, oh, skinny mini. I swear to God, if I hear skinny mini ever again in my life, I'm gonna
Jesus.
just drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, you get a lot of cheerleaders when you
Mhm.
start shrinking.
Yeah.
And I think especially as women, we're taught that the less space you take up in the world, the more worth you are you hold.
Mhm.
And so for me, before and after pictures were a huge part of that, and it became a way to really just devalue and push down my past self.
Mm.
And I felt like I needed to prove that I was better somehow.
Mhm.
And in more ways than one, but I just felt this need to like show that somehow I had grown, but really I had done the opposite. I had shrunk, but like grown past who I was before.
Mhm.
And the more I understand what I was actually doing, the more sad it makes me.
Mm.
And I realized that decrediting my past self really is a disservice to who I am now.
Mhm.
And there are a lot of things about my past self that I really loved, like that are so much better than me.
Mhm.
You know, like you can be smaller and like lose the weight, and at the end of the day, like you can not be a better person.
Yeah, you can still be a
because
shitty person.
yeah, absolutely. And I just like remember who I was in high school, and while I had a lot of issues with myself, I also was so smart and so involved. And I don't remember feeling this anxious ever in my life.
Yep.
And I don't remember thinking about my body ever in my life. And I mean, not ever. I put a lot of thought into my body, but usually at that age, it was reserved to like facing the reality of a dressing room and then running away and forgetting
Yeah.
about it and like getting on with life, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
But-
Shopping, dude.
Oh my God,
Oh,
it was
I
terrible.
fucking
Shopping
hated
sucks.
shopping.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't remember having too many thoughts about my body growing up. I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
I was so busy, and I was able to maintain a busyness and like not crumble. Like I just had so much more mental capacity
Yeah.
when I was young, and like there are so many things that now that I'm kind of coming out of a bad place, I'm trying to remember things that I did when I was younger to try to figure out like what made me happy then, because maybe it will make me happy now.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I've been doing the same thing. Like, not even just in terms of like how I feel about myself, but I'm like, what were the things that I was doing like when I thought I was the best version of myself, right? And I was like, because I think honestly, I personally think the best version of myself was like me in like 2011, and like I was like 17, but I was like. I was making all the right decisions. I don't know. I just felt like really good about that version of myself. And I'm like, okay, what were things that I was doing that I'm not doing right now? That's probably why I feel this way, you know?
Yeah, and so I just feel like the before and after culture is just the most toxic thing that I could ever imagine. And I mean, this is such a common thing, at least in the places that I exist on Instagram. I see a lot of like the dismantling of the before and after photo.
Okay.
But there might be a lot of people who aren't exposed to that.
Right.
But yeah, just saying that like so what if you're 10 pounds heavier? How much happier are you?
Right.
Like you're so much more than a before and after photo, and there's so much other growth that needs to happen that is outside of your body.
Yep. And just because like your past self was like totally different than you, and like you said, there are parts of yourself that you liked, like there are also like traits of that version of yourself that you can always like remember and then just like be like, okay, I'm gonna take that part and bring that with me, and then the other bad shit you can just leave behind, you know?
Yeah, I just feel like I spent so much time trying to like suppress and forget about past versions of myself, and now I'm at a place where I'm trying to remember who I actually am.
Yeah.
Because I tried to push so much of it away that I'm just trying to remember who I am and really ground myself in that and take parts of me with me.
Yeah.
And something I like to do a lot is think about like you know the vision of like God looking down from the clouds at you?
Yes.
I like to picture that, but like it's me.
Ooh.
It's like 50-year-old me.
Yes.
Like, and like the life that I'm like the moment that I'm in now is a memory, and 50-year-old me is like looking down, remembering that, and like cheering myself on. Yeah, so like it's not about before and after, it's about like just the process, and you should never try to push down who you were in the past, because it's still a part of you.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like you kind of touched upon something that's like really deep with as you grow, you kind of just feel like you have to let everything else go.
Yep.
But like trying to figure out what it is that you do really need to retain,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't grow by throwing skills away. Like, you know, it's like you grow by building on things. And even if it's not like a skill, if it's like a habit, a hobby, just anything that brings any kind of like positivity to your life, like just as keep continuing it, then it grows as well with you, and then it just keeps getting fucking better. Like,
Or like that's like literally saying like all of your failures, like taking your failures and being just dismissing them. It's like if you don't learn from anything that you failed from, then are you even learning? What are you doing?
Oh my god, yeah.
Right, yeah. It's like chopping yourself off at the knees. You're totally right, Simon. You're never going to grow if you keep throwing stuff away.
That's it.
Yeah. I've learned recently at work, I learn a lot from my failures.
Yeah, you
I
do.
haven't failed so hard in so long. I failed so much at work in the past few weeks. But
Well,
we are
you fail when you're doing something new, and then you never make those mistakes ever again.
never.
And then you use them, and then you use those mistakes in interviews in the future, and then you make sure that you tell people you never make those mistakes again.
Yep, and you spin it into a positive.
Yeah.
Bam!
Spinning.
Cool. I was gonna ask you, since I know you're a fellow vegan. I say that like I'm one. LOL.
Yeah, you just ate a meatball sandwich.
I
in
just
front
had a
of
whole meal. I'm trying, man. I'm just like I suck at it, but it's coming. We're coming down the road.
Sure.
Did you find that as an out, like I don't know, as like a thing? Did you find veganism through body positivity, or like was that just like part of like your weight loss situation, or like what made you decide to go vegan?
Yeah, I don't know if you did this on purpose, because I don't know if you know the answer to this question, but like
don't
veganism and body positivity and like that whole thing tie in really tightly for me.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of realizing this now.
Okay.
So, and it actually, I ran into somebody from high school the other day, or actually a couple weeks ago probably, and I had dropped that I was vegan, and I was just like, yeah, well, I would probably eat everything in sight if I wasn't, so this is like a really good way for me to like have some semblance of control in my life. And
Same.
yeah, and it's true, and it's like a self-deprecating joke in a way, but it's also it's something that I always say that like that's kind of my go-to reasoning for being vegan. And I just gotta say before we continue this conversation, I'm very uncomfortable with that title, but I just feel like it's better to say, yeah, I'm vegan, and people mostly understand what that means,
Yeah.
as opposed to like, no, sorry, I don't eat that beef. No, thank you.
Right.
No, actually, not the chicken either.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, no milk either. And yes, that does mean cheese.
Yeah.
No, none of that. Like, yeah, it's such a long conversation if you don't say that.
Yeah.
And I've tried to distance myself, or like I strayed away from that title for so long. And for a while I was saying like, yeah, I'm plant-based, but then I realized what that meant, and I was like, nope, not that.
I do the same shit. I just tell people I'm a flexitarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because you can like flex in between. Hey, bitches be flexing.
Whoa.
That has to be my next caption now because you said that. But yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't until that conversation recently where I heard myself say that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of not okay.
Yeah.
And I kind of have always had somewhat of a disordered relationship with food. I've never been diagnosed with anything formally, but I absolutely have binge tendencies.
Yeah.
And so it really truly started out for me as a way to restrict.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize that until recently. And I wouldn't tell anybody to stray away from being vegan. I think it's the best thing to do for the planet, for the animals, for the environment.
There's so many pros.
There are so many pros, and for your health. And I am like, mainly it is a health proponent for me.
Yeah.
I'm just in a stage where I'm figuring out what that actually means.
Yeah.
And I'm just now realizing that maybe my reason for being vegan wasn't the most healthy, and it might have been holding me back from a lot of the self-love things, because in the background of it all I've been restricting myself.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I'm not vegan anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out my why and really solidify that and make sure that it's actually a decision that I'm comfortable with and not just a reason to restrict.
Yeah, because it's so easy. Like once you say like I'm vegan, and then everyone's like, ew, and then you're just
Yeah.
like, okay, well, fuck you.
Yeah. And for me, it really,
know?
like, when I first did it, I realized that I could have power over food.
Yeah.
Because never once in my life have I ever said no to something that was offered to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Italian. Like,
Dude,
I don't
yeah.
eat when I'm
Oh, yeah.
hungry.
We
I
know.
eat because somebody told me to.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for me, I remember the first day that I was quote unquote vegan and I said no to a spinach artichoke dip, and I had never once done that in my life. And it sounds so silly, but for me it was like a really, really big moment for me.
Oh yeah.
And so it did start in a good way, and it reminded me that I could have power over food. But it's kind of evolved into something that I'm just now realizing that I'm not totally comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, again, I'm not shaming anybody for being vegan. I totally still am.
Yeah.
And I can't really imagine myself going back to certain things. I might be able to do eggs again. Don't tell my vegan friends, but like there are some things that like I really do miss, and I don't know that they would negatively impact my health.
Yeah.
But man, my family has some issues with
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for us, like, you know, like in our like religion, like when you fast, normally the fasting diet is like vegan. So
Mhm.
like for Ethiopians, it's like pretty common when like, oh, everything's vegan right now because it's like the time period, etc. Or just that time of year, the season, whatever. But like, you know, even when we go to like dad's side of the family and it's like a fasting period, like they get it because they're like, oh, okay, like religious purposes, whatever. But like if we weren't fasting and like they're Italian too, it would just be like, excuse me. It's just like super disrespectful, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm here to feed you.
Yeah.
Our whole culture is feeding you.
I mean, even sometimes they'll
Yeah,
get
no
a little,
shit.
like they'll get a little offended if like.
Well, yeah, a little bit,
because
yeah.
usually mom's like the good one, and like it'll be like the summertime, which is when there's like a bunch of like random fasts that could be like 3 days, it could be 2 weeks, like, you know, it could just be one of those random weekends, and we'll go, and then like mom will be the only one that's vegan, and then Nani will be like, oh, but can you have the corn? And then it's like, is there butter on the corn? And it's like, God damn it, we made the corn before she knew she was vegan. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but
But I
Just-
feel.
it's a struggle. But I feel like veganism, it's like, I don't know. It's something that like you said, like a bunch of times, it's about that like control,
Mhm.
because meat, I feel like it has proteins and has all that shit that you have to be so much more aware of when you're like choosing foods to go out in the grocery store. So you have to be able to control that for yourself, like with your money and like with where you go to shop and what's accessible to you. So like there's so much more that you have to think about when you like are a vegan than when you're just trying to like the world's not made to be vegan right now. Like
Yeah.
that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
And I gotta say, it is really helpful even to this day because it does make me think about my food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of just putting something, grabbing whatever I want, whatever snacks I want, I look at I look at the nutrition facts for the first time.
Yup.
Yeah.
And for some people, that might be really unhealthy. And actually, the Food Psych podcast that you recommended to me, I have been listening to it
Isn't it
obsessively.
so
It's
fucking good?
incredible.
So good.
What is this?
There's this other podcast that I got hip to. I don't know how. Oh, my friend Lindsay. Just kind of about like food psychology and like diet culture. And I told Olivia about it like the other day, and you should listen to it too because it's amazing.
What's it called?
I don't know,
Food
food
Psych.
psychology.
Food
Food
Psych.
Psych, yeah.
Yeah, by Christy something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put it
But
in
what
the
she
link.
was talking about was that, she was talking about movement as well, but
Mhm.
there are certain things where I think that was the first time I had ever heard it like out loud, that certain things can be healthy for some people but not for others.
Mhm.
I feel like health has become such like a prescriptive thing where like this is what's healthy, and if you don't do it then you're not healthy.
Mhm.
But she was kind of talking about it in the context of like if you're going to exercise or like if you're craving something really umami and savory,
Right.
then having an apple is not healthy because that's not what your body's telling you need.
Yeah.
And the same with movement. Like if you're moving to punish yourself or because you ate a burger instead of the apple, then that's a problem too. And
Yeah.
if you have issues with exercise or orthorexia, then maybe taking a break and not moving your body for like 2 years is what you need. And that is the first time I had ever heard that, or like was kind of given permission that like
to just like listen to your body.
Absolutely.
Like
and I think that's a piece that's missing from so much of the education and the conversation around bodies and food and movement and everything, is to listen to your body. And that's the piece that's been missing for me this whole time. Was I was trying so hard. I've done so much research and tried to figure out what was the best thing to do based on what other people were telling me, and I never once listened to what my body was actually saying.
Oh, I completely agree. When I went to the doctors, because like I was heavily overweight like for my whole childhood, and like we went to all these fucking nutrition classes, and that was great and all, but then as soon as like I really clicked for me, like, fucking eat when you're hungry, like, you know, like wait until your body says, hey Simon, eat something, instead of just like, oh well, it's 5 o'clock, this is when I usually eat, and then like you don't even really have like that pecking until like the food's already like on your plate, and then you're like, okay, I'm already, you know, now I'm hungry, so I planned this perfectly, and then like you shove it all down as fast as possible instead of like waiting a little bit, seeing if your body's like already full, and then saving anything for later. Because even, you know, the American culture is finish everything on the plate in front of you, because there's
Clean
children
Plate
in Africa.
Club.
So, like, all that shit.
But there are children in America, too.
Yeah.
Wink.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real. I'm not even going to bring up the Weight Watchers app for kids, but don't you dare do it if you're an adult and you have children.
Oh, my God.
That's all I have to say.
Go to my Instagram and read my post on
Anyway.
Sorry.
We're going to do the key takeaways and then slide into the announcements, yes? Major key takeaways, my friend?
Can I just, like, give Olivia a shout-out as my, like, goodbye for this episode, my announcement, my key takeaway?
All of everything.
Okay, Olivia, I just gotta fucking say this on the podcast. You are literally, like, one of my fucking inspirations to, like, lose weight. Like, you fucking helped so goddamn much. Like, you're, like she telling me to do, like, my Fitness Pal, like, that kind of thing.
No.
Like, I still fucking, it fucking helps me every now and then.
Oh, no,
like, what?
She's like, but it's horrible.
It's horrible.
I've grown so much since then.
No. But it's
like, I'm beyond this.
Because it's not about what you actually do, like, with that. It's just about getting into the fucking mindset for it. So, like, I started watching what I fucking eat. And even I don't follow that shit number by fucking number. Like, I'll be like, yeah, I was 1,000 calories over today. Fuck it. Like, you know, it's just about, like, loving yourself and just being like, oh, I am making progress on my own time. Like, knowing it's a fucking marathon, not a sprint. Like, that kind of thing where it's just like, yeah. So...
Yeah, it's a very fine line, losing weight for health reasons versus losing weight because you feel like you have to or you've been told that you should.
Yeah.
And so I recently deleted my Fitness Pal. Thank God, it's been so long just being a slave to that app. And I really took an extreme approach to it at first, and then I eventually got to a place where I was like, I'm not even using, like, I if I do go 1,000 calories over, I still ate it, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't really affecting much. And so I would just say to everyone who's listening and to you to use caution with stuff like that, and it can turn dangerous and dark really, really quickly.
Yeah.
But it also is helpful. I can't deny the use in understanding food and feeling some sort of power over food and understanding that it doesn't control you. And if it just becomes like another thing, then it's less scary. And yeah, I mean, if you need to lose a little bit of weight for health reasons, let that be your motivator and just try to make healthy decisions, but just be careful with that. I mean, I totally was there, and I'm trying to grow beyond that. So, but thank you for me inspiring you.
Yay. Well, I think we covered everything. I just want to give a double extra thank you to Olivia for joining us today and for spreading her wisdom. Alrighty, I'm gonna do the sign off.
Do it.
You ready?
You.
Here we go. As always, we are grateful for our listeners. If you are new to us, follow us on Instagram at The Freitas Effect or on Twitter at TFEpod and like us on Facebook. Hello. If you like what you hear, please subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Follow us on SoundCloud. Leave a comment or repost.
Do it.
And always feel free to share with a friend. Other places you can find us include Google Play, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. If you have questions and like us to answer a question on the show, or you have some feedback or affirmations, you know,
Affirmation.
you can email both of us at thefreitaseffect@gmail.com. If you really like what you hear, find us on Patreon.
Yes.
Become a patron.
Please.
Make a donation
Money.
to your heart's desire. Because this shit ain't free.
Money.
So thank you for listening, and have a great rest of your week.
Goodbye.